This is my latest batch of heat treat. I wasn't going to show this, but with this particular batch, it started to smell funny, or it was outgassing. outgasing, outgassing. All right. I don't know if there's two S's in gassing or not. Anyway, it started to smell like rocks, or it's hard to describe the smell, like a cave combined with a small campfire. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to test it and look through all of this stuff and see if I can identify any issues. I took it up to 400. I was going to take it up to 500, but it was smelling. It smelled up my whole shop. At 350, I turned it up to 400. And the smell didn't go away, so I turned it off. Now it's possible some of this could have broken up. Because I think I heard some cracking, some crackling. I sat there and listened to it for a while at 400. So I bet you we will find some pieces that broke up. So far, so good. Nothing broken. This worked out well. Some of this did change color. So, I don't know. I've had these batches smell funny before. It's usually not a big deal. But since I'm going to film everything, I wanted to show it. Show the results. That one works. That one is okay. I am going to put some of this stuff back in the heat treat. Some of this coarser stuff. So I should put these in a separate box that I'm going to reheat. Okay, I'm going to reheat those. These I'm not. Where am I going to put these? The ones I'm not going to reheat, I'm going to turn it up to 500 on the ones I'm going to reheat. If they nap well now, I don't have to reheat. That naps well. This one was napping well. Yeah, I don't have to reheat this. Yeah, I am going to put that one back in. All these coarser ones need higher than 450, I think. That one had an existing crack right there. That doesn't need more heat. I think I'm just going to toss that one anyway because it's got issues. Let's see. Now some of this was straight out of the yard, so it might have been a little damp. Some of this was rock recently given to me, and some of it was sitting in the yard for years. So the stuff that's sitting in my yard, that could have been the stuff that smelled bad. Or it wasn't bad, it was just an earthy smell. Yeah, I'm going to heat that at higher heat. This one here is probably fine at this temperature at 400. It's not glossy or anything. Let's see. I might stick it back in if heat it to 500. I'm gonna heat it to the highest temperature that my turkey roaster will go. This one's not glossy at all. It naps well. I don't need to heat it. Any further. And it could have been the smell of some of the dirt. I didn't even think of that. The dirt could have been what was causing that smell. So it was at 400 for about an hour, not 2 hours like I usually do. I usually do 2 to 4 hours at the temperature that I want. But this was only 1 hour at 400. That worked pretty well. A little biface. So I'm not going to test all of these. After I test the majority of the different types, I'm just going to look for stuff that broke up. This one probably could use more heat. Or it wouldn't be damaged by more heat, I don't think. There's always a risk that more heat will ruin it. So you've got to make a decision. Do you want to stay with how it's currently napping, or do you want to risk ruining it, but at the same time it may nap better? You know, it could get ruined by crazing, or it could get better. It's not better if it's both crazing and easier to nap. No, that's not better. It has to be one or the other. It's either going to craze or get better. Maybe. We don't know what's going to happen. Usually it gets, if it reacts well to 400, it will react well to 500 if it doesn't get all crazed and broken up. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take a chance. That napped pretty easily, so I don't want to take a chance. Not with a biface. It might get better, but there's no way to know. This one probably, yeah, I'll put it back in. Probably can withstand more heat because it didn't feel like much change happened to it. Yeah, this is napping well. Okay. This is the stuff that I think will benefit from more heat. Yeah. Yeah. So put that back in. All these bifaces were in the middle. Did I do this on video? I don't know. This one is napping okay. I don't want to take a chance on it because it's already a kind of a biface, so I'll save that one. I won't put it back in. I don't see any fire pops. It's all still intact. I don't see any fire pops. Now, the crazing will be inside. You won't see it on the outside, usually. Sometimes it'll break open, you'll see it, but many times you have to actually remove a flake to see the crazing. C-R-A-Z-I-N-G. This one's napping well without worrying about adding more heat to it. I don't have to worry about that one. Let's see. This one seems to be napping well. Yeah, don't need to risk it. Even though I've posted several of these heat treating videos, some of you are still brand new to it and you don't know what's going on. This is not an exact science. At least I don't try to make it so. This is just experimenting with different heats. According to my past experience, I will, bring it up to a certain temperature. It has been shown with scientific experiments that heat treatable rock will respond around 400 degrees, but the temperature could vary 100 degrees. Like it could respond at 300 or it could respond at 500. What responding means is it's significantly easier to nap. Some things don't get significantly easier to nap until they reach 500 degrees. Some rocks or things will become easier to nap at 300 degrees. But 400 seems to be pretty common for many of these cherts and flints. So that's my baseline. It's 400. Now if you're brand new, I recommend your baseline to be 350 because you don't know what's going to get ruined, and some stuff gets ruined at 400. And if you are a typical beginner, all of your rock will get ruined at 400. So I suggest you put it in at 350, and if it naps well, then you don't need to go any higher. If it doesn't nap that well, then you put it higher. But most new guys that I've helped to heat treat have the bad luck of having stone that heats at low temperatures, and if they heat it to high temperature, they ruin their stone. That's just luck. Most stone reacts positively at 400, but if you're one of the new guys, your luck usually is bad, in my experience, and you'll ruin your stone at 400. So just try 350 at first. So it's not an exact science. You could have the same rock that I do and have completely different results. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these heat treating videos, and I'm going to put more thermometers in here, or heat gauges, so I can monitor different parts of this particular roaster to see if it's true that there's differences in heat. So far, I don't really notice any differences in heat anywhere within, because I don't see much difference in the stone itself. The stuff in the corner heats just as well as the stuff in the middle. The stuff in the middle heats just as well as stuff in the corner. So either way we look at it. I'm going to reheat some of this because I want to see if it actually will nap better. It's been a while since I've done this, so I don't know for sure. What some of these will be good to heat to, or a good temperature to heat it. I'm not sure if that one was cracked before. Yeah, before I put that in there, yeah, I think it was already cracked. That probably could go in hotter. I'm going to put that in and see what happens. Put it back in. I'm not going to have a full tray next time with the stuff I put back in. You can heat any amount you want. I don't use sand or anything in there. Some people say it's ridiculous that I don't use sand as a buffer. You know, you put some stone in there, put sand, put stone, sand, stone, sand, stone, and sand. Keep, you know, doing that until it's completely full with no gaps anywhere. The gaps are filled with sand, right? And then you put a little layer up on top and make it all nice and smooth, and then put the lid on it. I don't use sand in any of my heat treat anymore. I did start that way because everybody told me to, but I figured out that the guys that do this for a living don't put sand in. All the guys with the fancy kilns and their highly expensive rock, they don't use sand. So I said, heck man, easier. It's easier not to use sand, so I'm not going to use it. Some people swear by cat litter. Put cat litter in there, not sand. Okay, fine. You can use whatever you want. You can put dirt in there. It's going to probably smell. But you can put dirt in there. Dry it out first. I usually dry it out at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours. But some guys insist on doing 4 days of dry out at 200. You know, whatever 4 times 24 hours is. You want to do it like that? You can do it like that. There's no hard and fast rule. You might write to me and say, I got beautiful results after 8 days at 600 degrees. Okay, fine. And that was after 2 weeks of drying it out at 250. Okay, fine. And then there's another guy will write to me. I didn't dry it out at all. I turned it straight to 500 and nothing happened and it worked great. Okay, fine. Another guy will write to me. I tried to dry it out at 200, but I got impatient. I left it at 200 for 4 hours and then cranked it up to 400. Nothing happened. Everything's beautiful. Cool. Another guy will write to me. I dried it out for 4 days at 200. Then I turned it up to 275. And all of it cracked. At 275. What's up? Then it's not even 300. Yep. It's possible. That does happen. I have some guys, at least 2 guys, email me back in the day. All of their rock, 20 pounds, cracked. All of it. And they couldn't get anything bigger than small pieces for their airheads at 275. So I said, well, that's the kind of rock you can't heat treat then. But they told me, yeah, well, the pieces were nice. The pieces that weren't broken, you know, little pieces like this that weren't broken were nice. But they wanted 10-inch blades. Yep. So they put 11-inch pieces in here. And it was highly expensive to put those pieces in there. And they started at 275 and it all broke. Yeah. So just be aware. There's all kinds of different stories about this stuff. No one person has the same result each time either. There's one guy, at least one guy told me that he's heated the same stone many times and he never gets the same result. It's always kind of wonky. So just be aware. Be aware that it's not an exact science. Yeah. You can tell which ones I'm throwing in the box instead of the ones that I'm keeping out of the box here, right? The ones that are on this side, in case I wasn't clear, are stuff that's good. Not heat treat again. Those in that box, I'm going to heat treat again. These over there, I'm just going to throw in a box of successful heat treat. And no, I'm not testing them all, because there's only like 4 different varieties of rock in here, and I already know which ones I'm going to reheat. Yep. It's these really grainy, dull ones that I'm going to reheat. I think that one broke up. Dang it. Yeah, boys and girls, don't throw it like a frisbee into the reheat box because sometimes they break into little pieces. Yeah. Don't do what I'm doing. And if I'm not sure, yeah, this is good. If I'm not sure, I won't put it back in the heat treat for the next batch. I won't put it in the box to reheat. That's the reheat box up there. In case you're just now joining in. Let's see. See it? That's the reheat. What are you reheating it at, you might ask? I'm going to reheat it at 500 degrees. I'm not going to turn it straight up from 0 to 500. It's going to go to 250. That's the first setting. I got a heat gauge or a temperature gauge that I use. In case you don't know, I drilled a hole right there. Let's see. I don't have my anything, but there's a hole right there. All right, it goes all the way through the rim where I put my temperature gauge that's used for cooking. I'm going to drill more holes in the rim in different places so I can put in different temperature gauges. And yes, I'll calibrate each one or make sure they're all reading the same. How do I do that? I raise it to the 250. Yeah, turn it to 250. It's not plugged in. I turn it to 250, right? It says 150. You say it says 150. Yeah, well, mine is off by 100 degrees. I'm going to put it at 150, but it's going to be 250. I'll have the heat gauge in there. It's going to read 250. I'm going to take it out, put another heat gauge or temperature gauge in there and see if that gets to 250. If it does, I'll set those two aside. Those are good. Stick another one in there. I think I'm going to buy 4. If they're all reading at 250 at the same place, that means they're all calibrated in the same way. If one is off by like 25 degrees or so, I'm going to not use it for the experiment. So they will all be calibrated, so to speak, and then I'll insert them in different parts. And this is a subject for another video. This video is just blabbing and testing and blabbing and testing. I'm blabbing while I'm testing these nodules so that you kind of get an idea what's going on. All right. So that's the reheat. Yes, I'm going to take those out and put them in here again. And sorry if I am dumbing this down quite a bit, but I get questions that seemingly people I think would catch on and figure it out, but a lot of times they don't. They'll go, what do you mean like reheat? What do you mean reheat? Is it the same procedure? Is it different? Slightly different because I don't need to dry them out. Is there like a waiting period before you reheat? Like, do you have to wait a year before you reheat? No, you can reheat immediately. Immediately as in, don't wait till it's cool. Just heat up the hot rocks again. Yes. You can also wait till they cool down. I don't recommend opening the lid if it's not cooled down. In case you're just tuning in, I let all my rocks cool down for 12 hours. After turning the dial back down to 0. Okay? 12-hour cooling period. Some guys will say, well, I only let mine cool down for 6 hours and I had no problems. Okay, fine. I've had problems, so I don't do that. What kind of problems? I open it up after 6 hours. Let's say, I don't know how long it was, but it wasn't no 12 hours. At one time I opened it up and I literally saw fire popping off the rocks. I literally saw that. It freaked me out. I put the lid back on. I said, I'm not going to do this ever again until I wait 12 hours. I don't care if they're cool at 6.5 hours or 2 hours and 27 seconds. I'm going to leave it in for 12 hours. So yeah, it doesn't appear that any of these are fire popped, which is a good sign. Yeah, I'm gonna reheat that. The dull ones, the ones that look dull after I take a flake, are the prime candidates for reheat, even though they may not need it. Why? Because I think they can take it. I think they can handle it. Yep, I think. We'll see. Am I willing to risk losing all those pieces in there? Yes. Just like playing the stock market. I don't reheat anything that I don't want to lose. If I'm afraid to lose it, I'll not reheat it. If I think that 500 degrees is way too hot, I won't reheat it. If I think 450 might pop them or crack them or do something bad, I will not reheat. I won't take the chance. And like I said, I'm going to do a lot more of these videos. It's going to get kind of boring, but the only way to show the results from many heat treats is to show the results from many heat treats. I'm not going to make a chart and say I've been developing this chart for 4 months. This is the result, without showing you the process. I'm going to show you the boring full-length process. And I'm going to go through all of my rock that I've got in my yard that I have left that is untapped. I got a lot of landscape gravel, literally landscape gravel, bull gravel that I got at the landscape store in many cases. In some cases it's from places that I can get it for free. I can just drive down a dirt road and get some. It's not good quality usually. Surface fines are all cracked usually. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's usually all nasty, cracked, and not good for anything when I find it for free. Because you know, I've got buddies that'll tell me where to find the stuff that's not so great. I said, yeah, okay, I don't care. You don't have to tell me where the good stuff is. I just wanted some stuff. And yeah, that stuff is easy to find usually. And yeah, I don't expect people to tell me they're good sweet spots or honey holes. They call them honey holes back in the day. I think they still call them that. So I don't see any fire pops at all. Yeah, there's no damage from the heat. There's only cracks and stuff that are part of the original stone. Ooh, that one naps so nicely now. Holy moly. And it's only at 400 degrees for 1 hour. I thought this was going to be nasty. But no. That's actually good. At 400 degrees for 1 hour. And that was not easy to nap, I don't think. No, this is not easy to nap in the raw state. That's cool. I'm gonna put this aside and let one of you guys finish that off. I'm gonna sell that one. Yep. All right. Why am I not gonna nap it? Because I got a bunch more. Do I have a bunch more? No, not a lot, but I got a good supply. At this point in my napping career, I'm napping mostly waste flakes. 99% of what I will be napping from this point on is waste flakes. And there's plenty of that stuff. Where do you find waste flakes? At nap-ins, of course. What's a nap-in? It's that thing that no one can seem to find because they live away from everybody. They don't live near nobody, so they can't go to nap-ins. Every time I say, go to a nap-in, I don't live near nobody. You don't? Are you in a city? Yeah. You sure there's no nappers in your city? Oh, I'm sure. They'll tell me. Then they'll see someone in the comment section from their same area. They just didn't look. It's because no one really posts too much about the nap-ins. They'll post on Facebook and stuff, but a lot of times the nap-ins are just for a group of guys that are buddies. They don't want the general public there, which is perfectly fine. Usually because there's not enough room, and if there's cars parked all down the street, they get complaints or whatever. You know, I get it. People are really irritable when it comes to parking. I used to help my ex-wife with her real estate business, and I would go inspect houses before the actual inspector got there, just to make sure that all the faucets are running and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I had obstructed a guy's driveway by about 1 foot with the back of my car. He comes out immediately. Move, because you're blocking me. And there was other cars on the street, so I had to park down the street and walk to the house, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it, but sometimes that's why people don't have a lot of invitations sent out for their nap-ins. That's one reason. But usually there's no issues really. There's just by coincidence people don't see their posts, or somehow when they do post their nap-in and take it back down, they leave it for 6 months, and the guy that wants to go to that nap-in doesn't know there's a nap-in there. He'll check. There's no post. The post comes up a day after he checks. It lasts for 6 months and then comes back down, and the guy checks the day after it comes back down. And there's still no nap-in. But it was up for 6 months. He just didn't see it. He waited 6 months to check. I don't know if I've seen that happen, but I know it happens. Because I've told guys before, this post for this nap-in has been up for months, and you didn't see it? I said, no, I just barely checked back. All right. So the lesson there is check often and check carefully, because nap-ins are the best place to get stoned. The best place to get stoned, free or expensive or anything in between is at a nap-in. And yeah, I'm going to throw in some good pieces into the 500 because I want to see if the good pieces survive. This is good stuff at 400 degrees, but I'm going to throw it in the reheat just to see if it destroys itself. I can stand to lose some of those pieces like that because it's got concrete in it. It's kind of nasty and it's got issues. So I'll just see if it survives at 500. It might actually get nice and slick and be really pretty. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for that. I'm going to all this stuff down here, excuse me, all this stuff here is good. All this stuff up there is going back in this. You might say, that's a little bit rough, don't you think? You probably just broke like 10% of these pieces. There's a few flakes in there and little chips and stuff. But I'm just going to heat it like that. It's not even a quarter full. Or is it? Yeah, it's about a quarter full. And no sand, no nothing. Just put the lid back on, turn it up. You know, in increments. I'll start at 250, and then an hour later, I'll go to 300 or 350. Probably 350. Hour later, 450. An hour later, crank it up all the way. On this dial, my 450 is right there. Somewhere between 325 and 350. That's my 450, I think. Or 400. And then a little bit more is my 450. So if I crank it all the way, it might go past 500. It might go past 550. We'll see. The funny thing is, there should be like a separate shutoff so that if it gets to a certain temperature, it shuts off. But the dial seems to be the shutoff as well as the dial. Right? So depending on how it's calibrated, it feels really loose. Depending on how this is calibrated, it could be anything. I think I might have ruined it one day. I don't know. It seems to lock, not go any further that way or that way, but I don't know. I have a friend of mine who cuts these out. Just cuts these out and removes this element and then messes with the thing inside so that when he turns it all the way up, it's like 700 degrees. I haven't tried that yet. Or, 650. I think 650 is what he is able to achieve. So if this one's broken and it's 100 degrees different, I should be able to get 550 degrees because it goes up to 450. We'll see. You would think that if the dial is at 200, the separate shutoff will shut off at 200 because the dial is at 200. But no, the dial is both the shutoff and the indicator, which means that this is the shutoff. And I just need to write the proper numbers on the sides here or scratch them in. Yeah, or just get a new roaster, start over. But I like this one because it goes up to 450. And I'm going to see if it goes up to 550 or 600 tonight. No, tomorrow, because it's going to, I don't know. Do I have enough time tonight? I might have enough time to see if it's going to be hot enough tonight. So we'll see. Okay, that's good for now. That's it.